And the number one complaint that I get is my partner just wants to lay back on the bed while I service them, and they're not actively participating in sex, right? Whereas if we're up, we're engaging, we're having conversation, we're getting grunts, moans, there's thrusting, it feels like sex.
I'm Amy.
I'm April.
Certified sex educators, sexperts of the year, and best-selling authors.
And we're on a mission to help you have more spicy, connected, and amazing shameless sex.
Welcome to the Shameless Sex Revolution.
We're so close, it's like we have our own language. We're making sex and relationships shameless.
To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.
You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our sex podcast collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to the Shameless Sex podcast. This episode is with fantastic repeat guest, and I believe this was his 6th time on our show. And that doesn't even include a mashup episode that we've done because we absolutely love him and everything he teaches. He can teach basically anything and everything.
I know. I couldn't be on the show because I was stuck in an airport.
In
Houston.
Yeah,
so I was like,
trapped.
You're going to have to take this one. I've slept on an airport bench and I'm in no place quiet. So I can't wait to listen because he is such an amazing educator.
Yeah, it would not be a good place to try. We've recorded podcast episodes in some weird places, but never in an airport.
No. There would have been way too much distraction going on.
They should have like little cubicles, like little recording cubicles that you could pay for, like rent by the hour.
Hashtag let's create it.
Yeah, or even for people's like Zoom video calls to be professional. But anyways, speaking of professional and how professional this topic is, it's professional because
I should have found a cockpit.
I know. You should have found a cockpit for this one. So this one is about face fucking, face sitting, and queening. For some reason, I thought face sitting and queening were the same thing, and you will learn in this episode they're not. They're actually they're different. I know. ... And so we've actually had a couple of requests for this topic. So to you listeners who wanted this topic, you're welcome. To some of you who are like, sounds super graphic. It's about oral sex. So you will probably still learn some things.
And shout out to everyone that went to our retreat. We love you all the couples listening out there.
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of you. We had such a great time. So thank you so much.
It was amazing, beautiful couples retreat in a beautiful estate. What an honor.
We learned about what gillying.
Oh yeah.
One of you listening, you know who you are. That's what they call jilling. Jilling. That's what they call. Yeah, jilling. Jilling is what they call oral.
Oh, jilling. Oh, for some reason.
Masturbation.
Masturbation instead of jacking off, you're jilling.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it. That's
brilliant.
So shout out to you. Yeah. And she's a doctor, so I think maybe that could be a medical term someday.
So she knows what's up with jilling.
Yeah.
Speaking of medical stuff, ready for the sex question?
Oh yeah.
All right. I am a 50-year-old man and my erections are not what they used to be. Plus, my doctor said ED meds might not be a safe solution for me, and they haven't worked well in the past. Are there any other options available? In case this is helpful, I'm divorced and in a new amazing relationship, and my girlfriend is very patient, but I want to be the best lover possible. Oh, this is another common question.
And there's so much shame around this too. There's so much shame when people get to that place in their life where they feel like, I don't know, they are not having the same performance that they used to have. And they're like, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing's wrong with you.
And then this person didn't share why their doctor said the ED medications might not be safe for a lot of people. Diabetic, heart conditions. There's a number of reasons why. Yeah. And also this person is saying, they didn't necessarily work well in the past. And from working in the sex toy world, April and I, right, and we still do this, April, we're still doing that with the podcast and the brands we work with, and we're sex educators, and we used to work in the brick and mortar of Pure Pleasure. There are things that can work to keep blood flow there. Like speaking of just toys that don't involve like medications or doctors or hormones, right? There's cock pumps. We've had episodes on that, specifically with Susan Bratton talking about that. So if you go back and look at any episodes of Susan Bratton, you'll see one that is very specifically about penis pumps, the ones that she's talking about. There's links and things there. There's cock rings. April knows a lot about cock rings. April designed a cock ring.
Yeah, I did with Hot Octopus. And there's also the Pulse Solo from Hot Octopus, which can help people with ED as well. Mm-hmm. But that's not always for everyone, right?
It's not always for everyone, and you need to be able to get some blood flow for those things to work. So I don't know if this person's saying I can't get any blood flow. It sounds like they probably still can if they're just not what they used to be. They're not saying I can't get an erection. So those are some good options. You can go to purepleasureshop.com to learn more about those toys. You use coupon code Shameless Sex, you get 15% off.
And then aprilamy.com, I think, for some of the Susan Bratton stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if you go to listen to that episode with her, you'll see the link in the show notes for that. And then before we talk about the medical stuff, learning new ways to play that doesn't have to just be about penetration and hard cocks. There's other things that you can do with hands, mouths. We just talked about sex toys, but sex toys like penetration dildos. There's the Deuce harness by Spare Parts, where your homegrown cock can still be outside through a hole, whether it's hard or soft, so it can still have stimulation. And they can put a dildo on the top part of it and still penetrate and wear that.
And Pipe Dream, the company I work with, makes these things called extensions, where they're hollow and they're silicone, so you can put your soft cock in them and then strap them to your body. Yep. So you're actually penetrating as well. Yeah. They're called extensions. They're brilliant, and they're all different sizes. So you could play with an 11-inch cock, or try out a 7-incher or a 9-incher or a 5-incher. So and they come in lots of different colors.
And then you can also, and I've actually experienced this before with not my current partner, or the past partner, or with a past partner, where their cock wasn't super hard. And so what they did is they kind of just not attached, but like wrapped 2 or 3 of their fingers around their soft cock, and they were penetrating me. So it's like they're holding their cock with their fingers and then penetrating me, like still thrusting. And you still get the feeling of this hardness, but then he's getting stimulation and I'm getting stimulation. So there's a lot of other ways to play that we have. Another episode, I don't remember the episode number, that is specifically about soft cock play. You can look that up on our website to listen to that one as well.
Yeah, that was a really big hit. It was on YouTube, sensation on YouTube.
Yep.
People were freaking out.
And then that was I think our number 1 episode on YouTube. Maybe still is. I'm not sure. It's a big topic for people.
Yeah.
But then going into hormones, right? We've had a number of episodes with hormone specialists because testosterone is a part of all these aspects, including erections and sexual health. And so 2 episodes, I think we just talked about this on the last, because the sex question from last week was the kind of similar thing, but it was from a pussy owner. So we love the work by Dr. Castillo and Remy Paye, nurse practitioner. Dr. Castillo owns and works at Swan Medical, which is in Los Gatos, California. So does Remy, and they also do work with people online. They do consultations if you can't make it there. April and I go see them. Yeah.
Where they're patients. And I've recommended them. If I looked at my text message thread to how many people I've recommended Swan Medical, the episodes that we've recorded, I send links to those. It's probably at least 20, if not 25, if not more. And that's a guesstimate on my end. And that's why I'm like, let's talk about them on the show with you. And you're like, hell yeah, they saved my relationship. Yep. But this question's geared towards dudes, but they also treat men. Yeah. So
there are ways to treat male sexual health, including erectile issues that don't involve Viagra or Cialis, that don't necessarily have to involve pumps and sex toys, and hormones and other aspects are a big part of that. And so what we really recommend is go, and this will be in the show notes, episode 336, which is how to have the ultimate pleasure and health at any age. This is with Dr. Castillo and Remy Paye. Also episode 370, how to repair sexual function, also with Dr. Castillo and Remy Paye.
And that was in person. They came to our studio.
Yep. Yeah. And there you'll learn a lot more about other ways to work with sexual health, including hormones, getting your hormones checked, or HTR therapy. And so if you are a penis owning individual that can relate to this.
HRT.
What did I say? HRT?
HTR. HTR.
What did HTR be? So see ya.
I don't know. Hormone treatment. I don't know.
Repair. Hormone treatment repair. There you go.
Hormone treatment. There you go. But it's not. It's HRT, everyone, just in case.
Yes. So
we can coin a new one.
Yeah. Well, or maybe everyone here has maybe you have a recommendation. But you can learn more if you go check out Swan Medical. They are absolutely amazing. I believe their website, I'm going to double check right now, is swanmd.com. And I am correct because I just double checked that.
Good job.
If you mention, but like I said, you can do in-person work with them, or you can also do online consultations with them, even if you're not able to go there.
And they can point you in the right direction. So if you're not in Los Gatos or California, they can give you the tools you need to get the treatments that you deserve.
And then if you do end up working with them, then you can just mention Shameless Sex. You get a 15% discount. And like April said, they also just love sending people in the right directions too. So what do you have to lose? Go reach out and check that out. Check them out.
You have everything to gain, including your cock.
Harder cock.
Yeah. Okay, so here's Orpheus's bio. Ready, Amy?
I'm ready.
Orpheus Black brings the wisdom of a healer, the insight of a scholar, and the charisma of a born storyteller. He pushes boundaries, offering tools for intellectual and sensual evolution that break through the limitations society has imposed on us all. He leads with passion, speaks with precision, and ignites a fire within those ready to step into their power, into their freedom, and into their truth. To learn more, go to orpheusblack.com.
All right, everyone, it is interview time, and we are here back with the amazing, incredible, wonderful, probably future retreat educator, Orpheus Black. And this is his 6th time on our show. And that does not even include the mashup episode that we did with multiple episodes that he has taught. And you already heard about him in the bio, right in the intro. He is a world-renowned kink educator, but also someone that we trust to teach everyone about anything related to sexuality, communication, relationships, all of the things. And guess what, y'all? You already heard this in the intro. We going wild. We're going face fucking, face sitting, queening. Most people are like, what the fuck is queening? And I'm sure you can clarify this for all of us. And a lot of you that are listening maybe don't know a lot about Orpheus, even though you heard a little bit about him in the intro and the bio, or maybe you have not heard his past episodes. So Orpheus, can you please tell us and our listeners a little bit more about how you got to where you are in the field of sexuality today?
Yes, thank you so much. So my name is Orpheus Black, and I am a 3-time leather title holder, which means I got to go around the country representing different groups and organizations in the field of kink. I've been on TV shows. I've been a consultant for movies. I've been on stage as a performer, erotic performer in theater. I've also been in porn and adult. And I also recently graduated from UCLA with a behavioral health specialist certificate, which means I get to work with people in crisis, specifically with the LGBTQIA plus community. And that being said, I have a book that I wrote, The Enzo, on Amazon. Of course, it's a philosophy of submission, and you can download it. And I mean, I could go on. I'm a pro dom of 25 years. I've done kink forever. I've been poly for 30 plus years. I have all long-term relationships starting from 35 all the way down to 2. And that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, nice nutshell, by the way. Very succinct. And April's not here right now, by the way. She is she's traveling so much. So this is like her time to actually go and chill and relax. She actually said, like, I'm going to go home and meditate right now. So like, we are very excited for that for her. And she sends her love. And we have learned so much from you over time and all these episodes that we've done with you with all these different topics, whether it's how to be a dom woman and how to be a dom man, how to be a sub, spanking, slapping, choking, all of these different pieces. And one thing I really want to highlight is all of our educators are absolutely amazing. The way you help people to feel safe and learn about safety as part of making everything even hotter is very special, and I want to say unique, but like also I know that you have other educator friends that are also doing that too. But I want to just give major praise for you for the way that you do that. And this is a kind of like a heated topic, right?
It is definitely a controversial topic, especially as you go outside of the United States and you start going into more Middle Eastern countries, more conservative areas. This is definitely something that is pushing the boundaries of what we would call decency politics, right? It's also pushing
I've
the
never
boundaries.
heard that term, actually. Decency politics.
Yes, decency politics is this kind of idea that political decency, religious decency, morality, upholding gender norms, spectrums of sexual behavior, like not having sex until you're married, what's okay to do and what not to do, where to put it and where to stick it and where not to, who should be in control, who should be on top. Those are all political in nature. Sex has always been political. There is no time where the act of sex is not some forms, fashion, borderlining on political, right? And in the bedroom is where the wars are waged between the genders, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
This is where it happens. And yes, it spills from the bedrooms onto the streets. We have issues from, obscenity laws, right? Homosexual activities were illegal well into the 1980s, right?
Still sometimes today. Still
sometimes today. Yeah. And people are bringing it back. What's the age of consent? And it varies from state to state, country to country, region to region, right? Sex and sexuality is always political.
Yeah. And that's, oh God. Ooh, okay, deep breath. We're in Amy, which I think Orpheus would appreciate because I'm going to stay on task. We have received a number of emails or comments from people that have said, keep politics. And this is not just, keep listening, everyone. Don't worry. We are going to get into face fucking and sitting. Don't worry. We have received a number of emails from people like, stay in your own lane. Don't bring politics into sex or sex into politics. And I really, really appreciated when we recorded with Dan Savage. And I think you said a very similar thing just now. It's like, until everyone takes sex out of politics, we are going to bring sex into politics, right? Like it's very much connected and has been as with what you're saying for, oh my God, I don't know, years, centuries. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, there's a famous quote. I don't know who said it, but he said, everything in the world is about sex except for sex, because sex is about power, right? And power in politics or political is always the same thing. It's about who has it and who doesn't. And so as we start navigating these conversations about face sitting, as we talk about queening, as we talk about
face fucking.
I wish there was a nicer way to say that, like, phallic disruption or penetrative. Oh, no. I wish there was just a nicer way to say it, but face fucking, we have to understand that the political undertones, the morality narrative is going to play out when we're starting to play with consent around this.
Yeah.
Right. So just sitting on someone's face without consent, queening without someone's consent, face fucking without someone's consent is going to be a problem because there is the stigma, there is the narratives, there are the underlying texts that are happening. So I want people to just have that in the back of their mind as we navigate this conversation and really think about if this is something you want to do. If so, how can you do it as safely as possible?
Yes. And that is my next question. But first and foremost, because I think a lot of people that are listening might be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? What is face fucking? What is face sitting? What is queening? So can we please define those, meaning you define for all of us listening, including myself?
I will. And these are my terms, not the global terms. This is what I've learned and experienced as a 25-year practitioner of kink as a professional. So face fucking happens when a phallus is thrust into the oral cavity repeatedly as if it were a anus or vagina, right? And a person is having sex and penetrating the mouth as if it were another sexual organ. And it's a fun thing to do, and it's glorified in porn. It's lots of people enjoy it, but that is the thing. When we go into face sitting and queening, there is a little confusion. Face sitting is where a person, usually a female, sits on the face of traditionally a male and is suffocating that person using their backside. Okay.
Oh, so backside.
Their bottom, their booty.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So face sitting is not me grinding my pussy on someone. It's me grinding my asshole.
It's cutting off the air using the thighs, legs, and butt. Queening is where you put your vagina on a person and they are essentially waterboarded.
It's true. I've seen, and we have another question. We'll get to like all the props, but yeah. Okay. Yes. Continue.
Right. And so queening is for a different purpose. Usually queening is so that the person on top, literally in this, or the dominatrix, can receive oral pleasure service from the person who's on bottom, literally, and usually the male in this arrangement. Face sitting is often suffocation by sitting on a person's face. Now, culturally, it's different because when you have demographics with very large posteriors, even queening can lead to a person not being able to breathe because when the person sits down, all the butt lays on the chest, covering the airways, the thighs come around the sides, the upper thighs come around the top, creating a seal, and a person's not able to receive as much air. So even in the process of them trying to queen in that moment, they still may struggle for air at that point in time.
So this is why. So I had another question, but I think with what you're saying, let's go into this other one that you were already alluding to before. The safety stuff. We want to get to the fun stuff, but right now it seems like it's really important to focus on the safety stuff because it's about kink, because we're talking about like people maybe not breathing, any dangers or extra precautions people should take when it comes to face fucking, queening, face sitting, etc.
Yes, the easiest one is face fucking. So basically what that's going to do is a person is going to thrust deep as they can into the mouth, and if they're long enough, into the throat, which is causing a gag reflex, and that person may wind up gagging. So what's important is that even if they are thrusting that deep, that the person who is receiving has enough awareness to be able to allow that person to push away so that they can get air, right? And or expel anything that comes up in the moment.
Which could be
right?
like spit, sometimes vomit. As sometimes,
correct. Yep. Sometimes spit, sometimes vomit, but also semen, right? So if a person has ejaculate going down their throat, they can also not be able to breathe because sometimes the airway winds up receiving fluid into it, and they're going to have a trouble breathing. You can choke on what we said, like a tablespoon of water.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So having that room so that person can be able to push out in that sensitivity to where they can adjust enough to be able to do it is very important. Also being able to have not a safe word, but a safe gesture. Right. So if that person, say, taps 3 times on a thigh, it means either pull out or it's too much or you're going too deep. Whatever you want that gesture to represent is what we should do, and agree on that before it happens. So you might say, okay, if you're going to be thrusting into my throat this way, what I'd like you to do is pull back an inch or two when I tap on your legs, right?
Brilliant. Yeah.
Perfect. Or slow down, but agree on it before. This is a safe gesture, not a safe word. Yeah. The other thing is you might want to talk about hand placement. Right? Because when a person puts their hand behind the neck, it often adjusts the windpipe in a way that a person is going to really gag and not be able to breathe. It restricts the airway. And so now you're doing breath control, and this person may not gag, but they're definitely having the airway cut off. So you might want to say, maybe hands around my ears or around the side of my head. For the male, they might want to negotiate hand on forehead to kind of keep a nice angle, because when the head goes down, teeth can go across the phallus.
Yeah.
Right.
You miss some things too. Like you miss some like gestures or taps or something.
Well, they could, but I think the thing is if they're making eye contact, it's a good position.
It's kind of hard though when you're getting your face fucked and you're making eye contact though.
I'm talking about the angle. If they can look up, you're at a good angle. If a person angles down, their teeth might be grinding your phallus.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and this is really important because people who are playing in this space where they have injuries or they have very thin skin on their penis can start bleeding, and blood in that place can transfer disease. Right. If a person has herpes, that can lead to an outbreak because any damage to the lining is going to cause an outbreak. I mean, there's lots of things that can happen. Both people should negotiate negotiate and talk about the expectations that they want as it's going.
And we're talking about things that I don't want to use the term hardcore, right? Because but we're talking about actions that require more conversation before, during, and after. And we will continue on the conversation. Well, we did the before part now, but the during and then the after about how to do this. Mid-roll magic lovers, quick wellness PSA. VB Health makes physician formulated, third-party tested supplements that actually do what they say. Clean ingredients, no fluff, designed to work with your body.
I'm obsessed. Every morning I take Soaking Wet, a combo of probiotics, prebiotics, and key vitamins for vaginal balance and comfort. I've been on it for a year without missing a day. I feel steady, wetter, and yep, my partner notices the difference too.
I love Drive Boost as well. It's a plant-powered nudge for libido that's great for all bodies. No shady stimulants, just nutrients that tell your brain, let's get it on.
Penis owners, listen up because Load Boost is a game changer. It supports sperm health, increases volume, and even improves taste. When my partner skips just a day or two, I can tell. So can my taste buds. And there's zero risk. 100 days to love it or get a full refund. That's months of sexy science basically on them. Ready to level up your pleasure toolkit? Head to vb.health and use Shameless for 10% off.
That's vb.health, code shameless at checkout saves you 10% on everything from the bedroom and beyond. Juicier vibes, bigger boost, tastier finish. Links in the episode's notes. Okay, so why would people even want to be face fucked or do face fucking or do face sitting or receive face sitting? Like what are people getting off to?
Well, let's do face fucking because I think we got to do a slap them and a kiss them. We got to go, here are the horrible things and here's why it's fun, right? You know what I mean? So one of the reasons why people do face fucking is specifically because it feels really good to the person receiving, and the person who's receiving often is into a type of domination. Right? They like being top. They like being forced. They like the aggressive nature of what it is. But there are other people who, for some reason, can't have vaginal sex. Maybe they have vaginal pain, or they don't lubricate the same way, or maybe they have had vaginal injuries or surgeries that X, Y, and Z. But they can't use their vagina, and maybe the anus is out of the order. So you can still have the opportunity to do face fucking as another way of playing with this. And it's more than just a person laying on their back. It's active participation within the framework of oral sex. And the number one complaint that I get is my partner just wants to lay back on the bed while I service them, and they're not actively participating in sex, right? Whereas if we're up, we're engaging, we're having conversation, we're getting grunts, moans, there's thrusting, it feels like sex. You know?
Oh, I mean, I'm just, if you're not watching YouTube or any of the things, and I don't even know if we can put this on YouTube, but I hope we can, but I'm just like smiling and nodding. So with what you're saying, I love face fucking. I love receiving it, but I I top from the bottom. I'm a very protective person about my orifices, especially my pussy. And with you just one thing you just said, the whole part of I don't have injuries to my pussy where I can't have dildos or cocks or fingers inside my pussy. And there's something about, and I again identify as more like a subby person. There's something about the face fucking thing with what you're speaking to where I can say I love having my face fucked, but it does not mean that you just get like bam, 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 bam. Like I'm still in control. My hands are still on your hips. Mm-hmm. And you're moving them, and I'm not moving them until I need to let you know, I'll push you away if it needs to stop, or I'll bring you closer if there's a more thing. And it's satisfying a desire to be dominated in a way that to me feels less invasive.
First of all, how big is this person that you're dealing with? You got to have 8 hips. I'm like, damn.
Okay. All right. I can't give you all the things, right? I can't give you all of it. Yeah. The demographics of like all the dicks. And so like if they're huge cocks, like, I mean, I'm only giving them the first like 2 to 3 inches. Like that's it. And then I'm going to put a stopper there. I have a whole hand that could be a stopper. There's also the brand called the O Nut, which can be a stopper. But for me, there's something about it, and I want to just stop talking and bring this back to you, that I always want to feel like the baddest, sluttiest girl and the best good girl, or the most important girl, or whatever. And there's something about face fucking that allows me to somehow feel in control and like I am surrendering all at the same time.
That's great. So let's do this. Let's say pros to face fucking. There's domination. There's potential for hair pulling, right? There's a thing for control. And there's also an opportunity for a person to lose control, right? Cons, there may be some gagging. There may be some airway restriction. And there is the potential for minor laceration if it gets too rough.
That's why we don't do no numbing stuff for the back of the throat, right? Are you on the same page?
No numbing. No, because you need to know the pain is the warning sign. Yeah. Right. And pro tip, always make sure that the person bathes their penis before going in your mouth.
Thank you for saying that. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many like sex educator people have never said this. I mean, this is so important.
Right. Always do that. And if, depending on how large they are, use your hands as a stopgap between how deep the person is going to go or not. And also negotiate a safe gesture to make sure that everything feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, you can use the gesture to make it stop, slow down, or maybe even stop and negotiate briefly. Right? So I think that's pretty much the best summation.
Thank you for that. Okay, so face sitting. Do we need as many safety protocols? Like, I mean, face sitting generally is not like things going into orifices, but like people could suffocate as to what you were talking about, right? So
you need more. This is actually, face sitting can actually be dangerous if the person that's on top doesn't take into account several factors. One, how long can that person hold their breath? Okay. 2, what does the safe gesture look like? Versus just their panic response, right? What is the point of the face sitting and whose gratification is this for?
Oh, dang. Wow. Yeah. Keep talking, but what?
So anybody who's ever gone down on another person and you felt their legs collapse on the side of you and maybe they tuck up and you couldn't breathe, you couldn't get the air, you're looking for that side air, like Mark Spitz, you're trying to get that side, right? Yeah, exactly. You know, when you can't do that, there's a moment where you just have to break contact and get a good breath, right? So imagine that times 10, right? So if a person's full weight is sat on you and you can't pull back, you can't move left, you can't move right, there's a good chance that you are going to begin the process of asphyxia, right? And that could be anything from like lip bruising, throat bruising, to lung bruising, right? To loss of consciousness. And it can go into, cardiac arrest. So, but that's an
very death, like extreme variations. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that is something was so horribly wrong. It's ridiculous. Or there was a pre-existing condition that was exacerbated by the face sitting. Okay.
So we're not trying to scare anyone out of these things. Like Orpheus is teaching you about how, like, as far as I know, everyone's lungs are very different in terms of their capacity, right? Like for some people, maybe in 30 seconds, you need to do a tap or like say a thing. For some people, it's a minute and a half or 2 minutes. So we're not trying to paint a picture of this not being like a doable thing. We're painting the picture of it can be super hot. This is your thing, but there's sexy safety precautions that can help you.
Right. Now, what's sexy about it? First of all, it plays on this idea of woman on top. First of all, that is a great movie. See it if you love it. And really, it's about the woman's domination and her ability to take control, take charge, or I should say the female's ability to do this. Now, both men and women do this, top and bottom. It could be same sex, it could be LGBT. It's just basically ass on a face. Okay, just want you to know. But it's often about female empowerment, right? And it's about male submission or subordination or obedience. And there are many men who fantasize about giving away power, about not having control. A lot of their sexual desire comes from the loss of control. A good 40% of my clients come to me because they want to know how to create a safe container where they can lose control to their partner in a way that the partner won't lose respect for them. So this is
that's big.
thing.
That's big. Yeah.
Right. So it's a huge thing. And it's wonderful, especially if you love asses, if you love thighs, it's a really good one. So
but you're letting someone like ride you and run you, but you want to still feel like I've got this, I'm strong. So how do I go to Orpheus to do a session, but like, how do I do this way that still turns me on, turns them on, but like, how do I still feel like I am strong in myself?
Exactly. And again, if you're into ass worship, if you just like big booties, if you like big thighs.
That's the next podcast, by the way, with you.
If you like scent play, right? If you like the smell of their sex and their sexuality, if you like the taste of this, that, and the other, it's a wonderful thing to engage in. And I absolutely love the part. That's one of my favorite things, to have a partner sit on my face. I'm like, great. I like to sometimes lift them up in the air and carry them, put them up against the wall and do all kinds of stuff. But I prefer that than just kind of just them laying there and me going down. I have the same problem that women do sometimes, you know.
Yeah, you don't seem like a lay down there kind of guy.
More of the athletic kind of guy, you know.
Yeah.
So when we're playing this game, there's a couple different ways to do it, right? You either want to do where you blossom the backside, right? Where you really open up and spread the cheeks because you want them to get a good whiff. So a great way to do it is to make sure that the person is laying on something that you can easily sit on. For people who have a bench at the foot of their bed, those benches are often a really great height for you to sit on. And what you want to do is you want to have them lay down, their head on one end, and then you want to bend and touch your toes, and then sit down onto their face as you slide your hands up your thighs. Right?
Wait, can you say that again? I'm sorry. This is the receiver.
This is the person that's giving.
The giver. Okay, so the giver bends down, touches their toes.
And then bends over slowly and lowers their now opened flower onto the person's face.
Oh, yeah, because we're talking about face sitting. Okay. Oh my God, I love you so much. Oh my God.
Well, and it's important because, you know, for the people who really want to be able to be between what I like to call the keyhole, you know, so the part of the thighs that pull back and you can see that beautiful, you know, labia majora right there. And so if you want scent play, if you want to feel the moisture of the wet panties on you, you've just now opened this up and they sit down. I like to call it oyster on a half shell.
Oyster on a half shell. So for all of you vegans or you're allergic to oysters, we can call it. Any ideas? Tofu on nuts, gluten-free cracker.
There we go. Gluten-free cracker. There you go. And the other one is to straddle the bench, right? In like a 3-point stance. So one leg on the right, one leg on the left, then bend down and touch the floor, and then just lower yourself down into the person's body, then sit up, right? That way you give both maximum access, right? And you're giving lots of aromas, you're giving lots of scent, lots of moisture, and everything is coming together. The other way is to just kind of squeeze your legs together and then sit down. And that way it's going to form more of a vacuum seal. And you want your anus on the chin, thighs around the cheeks.
Does my posture matter?
Yes.
I'm doing it right now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I say posture matters because you want more pressure on their chin than on their nose bone.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So if you sit up straight and your anus is like right on where the chin is, their nose should be just out, depending on the size of the person, around or near your vagina, and your eyes the eyes and forehead are probably on your upper thigh, right? But that gives more of an asphyxiation feel. Okay. Now, for shits and giggles, my wife has a very, very, very large posterior. So when she sits on my face, her butt is covering my nipples.
I just wish I could just witness you two doing face sitting. I'm just
she can back into a wall and her shoulders will not touch that wall at all.
Wow, dang. Yeah.
Shoulders on the wall.
Yeah.
So when she sits on my face, her butt literally is covering my nipples.
Yeah. So this is like you're speaking like the different bodies to work with, right?
Exactly. So if you have a very large posterior, you can do all the opening and you can do everything that you want to do, but you have to be very careful about how long that person can be in this position because there is no air coming in at this moment in time.
Yes. Okay. And so I want to loop this around too, because I also want to get into, because you kind of alluded at like some of the gear, right? Like some of the tools and gear and the products out there. Have you ever seen I think it's Nikki Glazer. She did a HBO show recently, and she was talking about, it's comedy, obviously, but she's talking about deep throating, right? And so it's like someone has their cock deep in your throat, but then they still plug your nose. And they're like, so you're like, I already can't breathe because your cock or your dildo's already, or for her it was a cock, right? So I already can't breathe, but now you're plugging your nose thinking like, I'm so hot. But now she also, or whomever, cannot like tap or whatever because they generally don't talk about this. So bringing this like full circle to we need safety for, boundaries in general, but especially breath, right? Especially breath and breathing.
Yes. And one of the easiest things to do is instead of tracking how long a person can hold their breath, just tell a person just to stop breathing and then count how long it takes before they need another breath. Right. And then you can have a basic idea as to when you want to maybe sit up and give them just a little bit of air. Right. And how much air they'll need. So a person may be able to hold their breath for just under a minute, average person, if they took a big, deep breath. Right. But it's probably about 30 seconds if they didn't. Right. So you might want to get to 20 seconds. You might want to get to 15 seconds and then just give a little air. They'll know that you're giving them air because one, they'll feel the weight rise up off your face. They'll also feel that cool air rush in, and they'll actually be cued to be able to go in there, and they can go longer. Also, they won't be as dizzy. They won't be as disoriented if you're pushing it. Yeah. Now, if you want to get into domination, you might want to think about, you want your partner to push their own edges, their own boundaries. It's like, now I want you to feel that urge to breathe, that urge to breathe in, and then I want you to signal me when you want me to raise up, right? So that is them pushing their own edges and their own boundaries. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was agreeing because you had already shared that before. We talked about like tapping. And so like if there's like a pussy or a dick or an asshole in your mouth, right, it's quite hard to be like, right? So we're talking about like now body language stuff. And then safety wise, you already said this, we're not going to get past a point where someone is so passed out they can't speak or tap, and I know you've already said this, and so this is why like having these pieces before all the sexy protocol, right? Mm-hmm. Fact. Most pussy owners need some sort of clitoral stimulation to orgasm, and many are not having orgasms from penetrative sex.
Say what?
I know, right? This is one of the many reasons why we are obsessed with OMG Yes. Not only has it changed our lives in the orgasm department, but I've been recommending OMG Yes to my clients for years, and it's completely changed their sex lives as well. OMG Yes features scientific research of real vulva owners, aka women, showing techniques to pleasure the pussy. They turn the research into tasteful, educational short videos, animated modules, and infographics for easy visual learning.
They call it OMG Yes for a reason, because OMG Yes is for anyone who wants to learn about pussy pleasure or take it to the next level. Whether you're a beginner or someone who wants to take your orgasms from good to mind-blowing, then you need to check out OMG Yes. They have 3 seasons: external pleasure, internal pleasure, and sex toys. It's not a subscription service, y'all, so you don't need to download a single thing. And it's great for partners who want to pleasure that pussy too. And for listeners of our show, OMGS is offering 10% off when you go to omgyes.com/shameless.
Again, that's omgyes.com/shameless to receive 10% off unlimited access towards enhancing your pleasure power forever. Newsflash, everybody. We are picky about our lubes.
Can we say uber picky?
Yes, we can. And let me tell you all why Uber Lube is our absolute favorite lube ever. Uber Lube is a luxurious silicone lubricant that I want all over my body. Yes, it's designed for sex because it enhances intimacy while allowing you to still feel the skin-on-skin contact, but it feels so good that I want it everywhere. Uber Lube is long-lasting, leaves your skin feeling velvety smooth, and it's there when you want it, but then it dissipates when you're done.
Yes. Aside from using Uber Lube for all of my sexy sessions, and I use it all the time, I also use it for massages, for my hair frizzies, to prevent chafing, and it brings out the color of your beautiful tattoos. Thousands of doctors and therapists in the U.S. alone are recommending Uber Lube to their patients because it's body-friendly, less likely to change the pH, and has vitamin E so it feels moisturizing on the skin. Uber Lube has no flavor or scent, which means it's also great for oral sex. And it comes in a beautiful glass bottle with a pump top, which means easy access to Pleasure Town.
Want to see why we think Uber Lube is the best lube in the world? Then go to uberlube.com and use discount code SHAMELESS to get 10% off and free shipping. Again, that's uberlube.com right now with code SHAMELESS for 10% off and free shipping.
And for me personally, I love face fucking. I did not know I loved it until like 3 or 4 years ago. But I'm like into it and for many reasons. And one thing I love about it though, whenever I'm experiencing it, is my hands are still on your hips. My hands will be on your hips. They're going to stay on your hips. And you can thrust and fuck my mouth. But if you ever feel my hands stop, and I'm a strong person, and push you away, that's a stop, slow down, no go thing. And so I'm curious, is that possible with face sitting? Is there, because that's a different angle.
Absolutely. When you're doing face sitting, it's the same thing. You tap wherever the butt is, wherever the thigh is, you just go ahead and tap it. Even when you're in, this is one of the reasons why I tell people do not do like severe bondage when they're doing it, because then that person's not able to do it. And also don't, because I've seen people also, for some reason, gag people while they're doing face sitting as well. So not only can they not tap or signal, right, they also are having something impairing their breath, and they more than likely can't shake. So they can't alert you at all. Yeah. I mean, this is extreme fetishism, but I understand why people do it. You do it once and it feels good. And so you're like, I'll do a little bit more. I'll do a little bit more. This feels great. I'll do a little bit more.
It's fucking hot. It's hot. It's hot.
It's hot.
And it's hot. It's hot whether you're the person in control or as the, I mean, at least for me, like the receiver, I'm like, I control the world all the time. At least I think I am. And now I can finally be on my knees and have someone else control me while I'm still controlling them, but they don't think I am.
Absolutely. And there's so many different, again, having control and losing control are polarities. They're polar opposites, but they both achieve the same goal. This is why we call it sadomasochism, because you can be on both ends of the spectrum and still get the same sexual pleasure out of it, right? These are what we're looking for. And to me, face sitting is one of the most amazing, one of the hottest things that people can do, especially as a guy, because you are literally giving this person the opportunity to use you to pleasure themselves.
Yes.
Right?
Continue, but just like, yes. Oh my God.
Exactly. So a lot of things that feel good. And again, for people with, people who are riding, things that can intensify the pleasure would be like putting a butt plug in, while you're riding. That's another thing that can do it. Or if you put not Benoit balls in, but like one of those
like Kegel balls,
Kegel balls, any of those things, so that your motion generates a lot more pleasure within your own self. Like those are all great. If you want to put on the panties that give you the massager, so that you can use a vibrator while this is happening, that's great too. Another thing that happens too with face sitting is a person may bring themselves to climax and squirt on this person's face, which is another one.
It's like reverse squirt though. It's on you, but it's like all over your own face.
Yeah. So the person's sitting on the other person's face and it squirts all over their face, right? It's something that people do to intensify the activity. right?
Yeah.
So there's lots of things that you can do, but in the personal top is in charge of their orgasm or not.
What? Sorry, did you say the personal top?
The person on top.
Oh, person on. I'm sorry. Okay, got that. Okay, so adding on, because you were already on the props tools. Do you have any other props tools or pieces that people like sex toys? And I've seen at trade shows queening chairs. Like, do you have any other tips or ideas?
Queening yet?
Oh shit! Here we go. Okay, sorry.
So the last thing I would say is another thing. You can sit on, most of the time when people are sitting on top, they're sitting facing the top of the person's head, right? So butt on chest, vagina on face. Yep. Well, you can also reverse that same position, right, and give a hand job to the person on bottom while you're sitting on their face.
I'm just practicing this. I'm listening, but I'm just trying.
So you can sit on their face and ride their face while giving them a hand job. You can play with nipples if that part is available, right? You can play with the balls. You can have them open their legs, pull their legs back, play with their anus, give it pressure on the anus. If you're using a dildo in this area, you could do that as well. Right? There's lots of things that you can do in the process of queening. I mean, in the process of sitting on someone's face as well. And that's for, I would say, more mutual for couples who want to give and receive at the same time. So it's a version of a 69.
Yeah. And it's also fucking an extra hot version. I mean, 69 is super hot. Everyone, blah, blah, blah. 69 is cool. But like, you're giving so many more options, or at least my interpretation. It's a version of 69 with so many more options that is beyond what traditional 69 is. Exactly.
Now, the other thing is, if you really want to go for a power move, right, what you can do is the person can be on their back. The person on bottom is on their back. And the person on top will scoop their legs underneath the person's arm and then mount their face and then sit back so that the person's arms are trapped between the calf and the thigh. Oh man, somebody's gonna be freezing. Am I doing it right? Yeah, okay. Put it down. There we go. So a person's gonna sit on your face on the face, but they're gonna trap your arms.
I know I can't do that because the microphone wouldn't have found its way to my mouth. But yes, it's almost like a happy baby with your arms wrapped around your legs, ish. No,
ish. If I were, I hope they can see me. I'm like this. My partner would sit on my face facing towards the top of my head, and she would back in and put her calves and feet under my arm, and then sit down, and her thighs would trap the top of my bicep.
Oh, it's a one-sided. Oh, okay. Oh, God. Watch the YouTube video. I mean, YouTube might ban this, but try your best, everyone.
maybe this is a great opportunity to do a video one day, and I'll do the video and then send it in or something. You guys can edit it for your Patreon or something like that.
Yeah, we don't have a Patreon. We stopped doing that, but we will make a specific clip for this because this was actually really helpful. And the way your mind, body, experience, brilliance, and also spirit. Also, this episode was not very much incorporating how much you are a deeply connected spiritual human, and that doesn't mean Om Shanti, everyone. We need to like pray and get down when we fuck. It means, at least my interpretation is still reverence, regardless of what we are doing, and that it should be there in all experiences, whether it's with one person, whether it's queening, face fucking, tantra, choking, all these things. It's bringing in this, whether it's with one person, 8 people, right? That's, you stand Absolutely. Solidly by that.
Absolutely. And again, the whole goal of intimacy is to reverence and be reverenced, right? It's really to be able to help our partners experience a sense of significance and not just pleasure. So for me, this is why my way of looking at it is very much different. And honestly, I've been having group sex, since I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? With my partners, at least 3 partners at a time. And there's certain positions that are more conducive to being able to work with more people. And so to me, queening is one of those great ones where you can receive oral pleasure and then maybe have someone riding the other partner right? And then someone manipulating them from that point, maybe standing over that person and face fucking that person, right? And it all kind of fits together like Tetris, like Lego.
It is like Tetris. That's what I was thinking.
Right? We just need to get a hip hop version.
But like a better soundtrack. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is one of those things, and queening is no difference. Usually queening comes from the idea of the chair that the mistress would sit in.
Yeah, and that's how I learned about it. And I want you to continue, but I heard, like, I knew about face fucking. I knew about, like, kind of heard about queening, and I want to give a shout out. They're not a sponsor. XR Brands. I know they have a queening chair, and you're starting to speak about that. So can you tell us a little bit more about like the queening chair vibe?
Yeah, the original queening chairs were, the oldest ones that I've seen are pretty much chairs, like thrones, where a person would sit with their legs across, almost in like a 90-degree angle. And the sub would actually be brought in from the back so that their head is sticking out and not their body. Because the idea is, I don't want to see you, I just want to receive.
Oh, snappo. I never even thought about that. Thank you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So the person would come in and lay their head back. The person would sit down, and the sub's body would be raised up, and instead of the queen coming down. The queen doesn't move. She sits there, and the sub adjusts themselves to whatever height or whatever thing that they need to do in order to provide the service.
Still so hot, but continue. But dang, okay.
Right. And so those chairs for me were the original ones were kind of removed because they felt like it was dehumanizing, and they went for a more humanizing chair, which usually is now a person laying on their back and there's a chair, or even a person on their knees and providing oral pleasure. Personally, I like the old chairs, because if we're going to do kink, let's do kink. If we're going to dehumanize, if we're going to humiliate, if we're playing in this space, let's just go ahead and do it. Also, this gives the person receiving the opportunity to just receive, right? One of the things, so I do hypnotism, and in my hypnotism course, they added relax, but remember, everyone is taken care of. You don't have to do anything for anyone. And that was specifically for women, because they couldn't relax because they were always doing something for someone else. Even so much that their mind couldn't be hypnotized because they, you know what I mean? Because they're worried about, I got to pick up the kids, I got to go do the thing, and they couldn't relax. Right. Mm-hmm. So if you have a sub that you're still responsible for, you're like, oh, I see his hard penis, or he looks like he's struggling, you're going to still be in that mindset of taking care of someone else and not receiving.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a wonderful thing for me. Go ahead.
Every time you're on the show, it's like, I guess, like, do we have like a whole day? Everyone listening, and I have one other question for you. Actually, I have two other questions for you, and I put up three, but they're all going to connect. There's a reason why Orpheus, if he will have us, will be teaching at one of our future retreats, because you can tell it's just endless, and he is one of our favorite, and just and April's not even here right now, but she'll listen. She will just melt inside. And so I have another question. I want to know about more like offerings and all these things. But you just highlighted a point that I'm very curious about. That I'm maybe curious if our listeners are wondering: is face fucking, queening, face sitting? Does it always have to be humiliation play?
No. And the intention that you set is usually the intention that you get, right? So if this is about providing pleasure or providing service, then it's about pleasure and service. If it's about humiliation, degradation, or humiliation, then that's what it's about, right? So you set the intention when you start the process, and then you move from there. That shapes everybody's behavior, motions, so on and so forth. Yeah. We have to remember that there's thought form and art form, right? So art form is the physical, what we do with the bodies and how we move. The thought form is the intentionality that we put into the thoughts, the movements, the behaviors, right? So what is the thought form, right? That's why we negotiate. That's why we come up with our safe word. So it doesn't always have to be about that, but it can be, and it can add something.
Yeah. And just speaking for myself, right? Like, I said earlier, I like face fucking. It's not a humiliation thing for me. I don't want to be humiliated. It's not my thing. In fact, if you're trying to do that, I might like accidentally, I don't know, grind down your cock a little bit. But like, then I'll be like, oh no, I made a mistake. But like, I'm not looking to feel like I am not a strong, capable human. I want to feel surrendered, but again, this is just me, and so I'm so glad you said what you just said, because maybe some people also want to feel like grind up my face, so I feel like I am your piece of meat, right? Or like the other person that you went down on you was better than my mouth, right? They're all different things, and so you're saying intention and conversations before.
Absolutely, set the intention before, and you'll more than likely get to the place that you want to be as you're engaging in it. And that's it. We just want to set the parameters and the conditions by which we are trying to receive the goal.
And then it'd be super fucking hot. So speaking of, oh my God, Orpheus Black. God.
I hope I didn't go on a tirade about some of these things. I love talking about this stuff.
I know. And this is why we're like, again, full retreat. Like, yeah. So this is coming out in a week. So this is like almost late September 2025. You have some offerings coming up, I think in 2025, as well as 2026. You also have the offering of people just being able to work with you, one-on-one coaching, 2 humans, 3 humans hiring you to work with you online or in person. Can you please share more about this?
Yes, actually, I will be at Kink Bound in October 9th through the 13th. Which is a wonderful retreat for all people of all practices. And we're just going to be getting kinky and talking about sex education and experimenting and playing and going from there. You can work with me. Go to orpheusblack.com. That's O-R.
Link in the show notes, but you spell it. Yes, just so you know.
Notes,
yeah.
ORPHEUSBLACK.com. And you can also get my book on Amazon, which is The Enso, THENSO, A Philosophy of Submission, and find me there.
I'm so excited to read your book. I'm just, as you can tell, we don't get enough of you. April, when she was so sad, she was actually kind of crying when she drove away today. She's like, I have to go to the airport to go fly. And like, I don't get to be with Orpheus. I'm like, babe, there'll be more. Don't worry. You can listen. And someday we'll be with him in person. And yeah, we love all of our educators. For all of our listeners, if you hear educators that are here over and over again, like, you know, they're like 5+ up for episodes, there is a reason why, and it doesn't mean that we don't love the other educators. It's just this arsenal of amazing and very important information. And so thank you so much. Also, we had to go to Orpheus and be like, so like, we have a request about face fucking, like, can you handle this? And Orpheus is like, yeah, I know.
My shared dominatrixes, man.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you for loving Shameless Sex. For everyone listening, if you go onto your favorite platform, iTunes, Spotify, that's where most people are listening, please give us your ultimate loving reviews. And then that helps us, but also helps other people who live in the middle of nowhere who don't get sex education, whether it's sex positive or comprehensive or whatever. They don't get to hear you're normal, you're not broken, you are loved. Here's the varieties. Here's other people you can work with, like Orpheus Black. So when you do that, it's not just for us, it's also for our educators. So please go and do that. You can just put like a little emoji in there or whatever. And let's see, what else? Stay tuned. We always release an episode every Tuesday. We have not missed one since June of 2017. Yeah, I know. And Orpheus will be back. So thank you to you, Orpheus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing your beautiful face again.
And thank you to all of our listeners. Ciao for now. To learn more, go to shamelesssex.com.
And for 15% off some of our favorite sex toys, use code SHAMELESSSEX at purepleasureshop.com.